Let's get things kicked off in the prime era at Colorado, taking on the defending national champion runner-ups. The TCU Horned Frogs should be an exciting one. A couple of keys in this game. We'll get to the personnel in just a minute. But a couple of keys in this game. One, weather. 101 at kickoff in Fort Worth on Saturday afternoon / morning. It's 11 o'clock when they kick things off there on Fox. That's going to have an impact on a Colorado team that is relatively thin. Now, TCU's been practicing that. It's been unreasonably hot here in the South over the last couple weeks. Camps everywhere have been brutal. I know it's been relatively warm in Colorado as well, but creating that heat and adversity is almost impossible to do. I would expect TCU to come out and go hyper-speed tempo to challenge the game shape that Colorado's in. That's one thing to be mindful of. Nothing to do with the X's and the O's, but something to also watch there as we lead into the game. The other thing, too, and this is a direct quote from Sonny Dykes. Quote, typically you watch game film from last year, but I haven't watched one Colorado game, end quote. Obviously, we know why. There's very little carryover. There's new staff, new players. Pretty much everything about Colorado this year is new. But how do you prepare for this game if you're TCU? Are you chasing ghosts basically the entire week of prep? Probably. If you read some of the things that Chandler Morris has said, if you read some of the things that Sonny Dykes has said, you read some of the things that Kendall Briles has said, they're basically saying we've watched 37 different games. And that's not an exaggeration. That's the actual number of games that they've watched in order to prepare for this game. They've watched Jackson State. They've watched Alabama. That's where the defensive coordinator's from. They've watched Kent State. That's where the offensive coordinator's from. So there's a lot, I think, that is kind of on Colorado's side as far as the element of surprise. Now, will it matter? I don't know, but I do think this is going to be a game that comes down to adjustments made in game once you get a beat on what the team is doing across from you. We kind of know who TCU is. Defense, a lot of carryover. Offense, new OC, but the offense is going to remain the same. Chandler Morris is excellent. They got a lot of good quality transfers. The depth is pretty good. This offense is going to score. I feel very good about that. I'm not concerned that much about the defense, to be honest with you. I think they're going to be pretty good on that side of the ball. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time in this breakdown of TCU. If they do what they're supposed to do, they'll take care of business. Simple as that. Colorado is one of the biggest question marks I've ever seen. I've been doing this my 10th year. I have never seen a question mark that's this significant. When you have 86 new players and only 10 scholarship carryovers from the year before, how the heck am I supposed to project anything on what you are, both offensively and defensively? Offensively, I know your OC is Sean Lewis. I know at Kent State, they're going to run tempo. I know at Kent State, they're going to have 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and they're going to try to go a million miles an hour. I know they're going to use a lot of run-pass options. Deion Sanders excelled with run-pass options when he was at Jackson State. Threw for over 7,000 yards in his career. And I think one thing that people don't realize about Deion Sanders is he's not crazy mobile. He only rushed for 100 yards in his time at Jackson State. So he's a guy that wants to live in the pocket and distribute accordingly. At wide receiver, 2 guys we need to know. Jimmy Horn, transferred from South Florida, really good player, probably going to be their top threat. Went for over 550 last year on an offense that really was having some ups and downs. And Travis Hunter, the 2-way player. Can he play 2 ways in 101-degree heat? That's something to be mindful of. At running back, Dylan Edwards is kind of a small, undersized guy, but was a highly regarded guy. And I just saw this a moment ago. Alton McCaskill, the transfer from Houston, probable in the game, but coming back from an injury, how much will he really be able to go? The biggest question, though, for Colorado is going to be their offensive line in the trenches, really on both sides. They had a huge loss when NCAA ruled Tyler Brown ineligible. He was an FCS All-American. And then there's 2 other offensive linemen that transferred from Kent State to go to Colorado with Sean Lewis, but are they capable of playing against a TCU team that's going to get after you quite a bit? Defensively, Charles Kelly, he's from Alabama, been at Florida State, great coach, really good recruiter. He's going to try to heat you up. And he's got 2 excellent corners, Travis Hunter on one side, Cormani McClain on the other. Maybe Cormani McClain a little young, a little light, maybe not quite as strong as he needs to be in time, but he's got good cover skills. So that's one thing to watch. But this thing should be pretty interesting. I think everybody in the college football world's fascinated by what they're going to see.